Might be interesting to know his perspective about what happened at Latitude 2013.
Oh wow, yeah. That was my last show. I mean, we could probably do a podcast on like that whole summer um, because Matt um, he quit kind of. I want to say about 20 shows from the end of that tour. Like they were all festivals, and and I was very sympathetic to Matt's position on that. I did say you should finish the summer, and I think he says now he probably should have, but he was at the time he was just I have to leave. I can't do this anymore. Um, and when Matt left, I more or less knew that that was me done because I didn't think the band was. I thought Matt was kind of like the heartbeat of the band, effectively, and yeah, I didn't feel like there was a version of the band without Matt that I could probably do. So, but I wanted to do those 20 shows because they were booked and there was a payday in in it, and but it wasn't very fun that summer. For lots of reasons, but the main one is that Matt wasn't there for me, and when I say Matt wasn't there for me, what I mean is Matt wasn't there, and I felt it was so critical to me, the experience of being in the band, to play off Matt, to look over and see Matt, to it was like it was critical to me, and so a little bit of me just kind of like dropped out of out of that band at that moment. I was just like, I'll just get through this, do these shows, and then I'm sort of done. And so as a result, yeah, I was probably taking a bit more alcohol on stage than I might normally have. And of course, the last show being the last show, is like, right, I'm pretty sure I had just like a row of shots set up on the drum riser, and I was just working my way through them. So yeah, I was probably a bit sloppy, but it was, I was kind of like, the door was open. I was ready to walk through it. So I wasn't really thinking about playing. And by the way, you know, um, there was much, there was plenty of sloppy playing on all corners of the stage at various times. I wouldn't say that like I was any sloppier than anyone else had been in the band at one time or another.
Yeah, yeah, fair play. And then, was it like a known thing that that was gonna be a last gig type thing to everyone?
Well, ha. Well, no, not. I don't know, to be honest, because I very much sort of retreated into a kind of survival mode where I wasn't really talking to anyone, and it was all just, we need to get through this. I mean, my position on that whole last year is that we played too many shows anyway, because there was this sense, even before we did that last, well, the fourth record, there was a sense that, because we'd taken time off after the third record, there's this idea that, will the band actually come back after the fourth record? And so our management, our booking agents, and we had an agent over here, we had a different agent in the States, and we had a third agent in Canada, so we were playing like separate Canadian tours. They were like, there's lots of authors, and the general consensus was, let's do everything. And I felt like it was too much, really. I feel like actually if we'd done only, let's say like 80% of the shows we did on that run, we might have got through it to the end. But we'd done too many shows. We were together much more than was healthy for that band at that moment. So it was bound to these things were bound to come to a head. They ended up coming to a head in a way that they probably wouldn't have if we'd just taken a bit more time off on that year. And yeah, so I think by the time we got into that last run, none of us were really talking to each other at all. We were just like laser focus on getting through to the end of that run, and then let's have a discussion in a few months. But as far as I was concerned, yeah, I was done, certainly for the time being. But I think pretty much at that time I was like, I'm not going to want to do this after this tour. I'm sort of done, really.
Yeah. And then, I mean, just going back to Matt leaving, could you understand why he left at that point?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you know, I don't know how things would have been different. I still think even if Matt hadn't quit on that run and we just got to the end and just gone our separate ways, I'm not convinced that Matt would have come back. And as I say, I wasn't interested in doing it without Matt. So, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, it happened quite suddenly, but it was not unexpected at all. No.
And there's this thing around, I think Kelly said something about, there's this vague anecdote he said about people taking drugs or something that Matt felt he got caught up in.
Well, I think Matt corrected what that was, right? But yeah, I mean, the thing is that I got asked to give a quote when I left the band, and I just declined. I didn't have anything to say at that point. I was just like, I'm leaving. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that whatever Kelly said and however that was reported, I thought was really clumsy, and I didn't appreciate it because because it implied something that was not true at all. Especially anyone who like actually knows me, like I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff, to be honest. So yeah, for us all to be kind of tarred, you know, those of us who left the band to be tarred with this vague idea that someone had a drug problem, I didn't take kindly to at all. But as I said, you know, I more or less kind of like shut the door on that. I was like, I'm not going to be drawn on anything at that time. And I really haven't said much ever since, really. But yeah, it was a misleading thing I didn't really appreciate, and it wasn't true. But I think, you know, over time, like, as I say, like Matt's cleared it up, I think, that one.
Yeah. I think that's definitely cleared that up. And a video that's gone pretty viral on YouTube. I think it ended up being an NME article of its own.
Good for you. Yeah, I don't know if I can give you anything as viral as that, but you know, the door's open now, so maybe like there'll be more questions and more kind of like more candor.
Yeah, well, if these Reddit questions are anything to go by, then
okay, bring it on.